Oh, we're getting a lot of noise. Alright, let's try that. Why is my mic so hot? Oh, that's why. I had one of my inputs plugged in that I didn't mean to have plugged in. My bad. Alright. Need to do another coat on the base here. Because I did the black base coat the other day. Didn't have quite enough on the stones. Almost time to switch that out. Not a huge deal. By the time I get to the feet anyway, it'll be dry. This will be 3 coats that I'm putting on this now, though. Just shows you what kind of work primer does. Newsflash, it does a lot. Might as well do the whole thing while we're here. Okay, gonna go over it with a quick dry brush. I think it's about time to replace this brush. Other flat brushes that I need to use for washes. I've discovered that it's actually better to use bigger brushes for washes. Not big brushes by any means, but definitely bigger than what I have been using. Do that when we get to that step. Meanwhile, we'll keep using this one for the dry brush. much brighter than I would use for, say, my death company, because their highlights are intended to be a lot more subtle, and a lot of this will be covered up, but it brightens up the recesses and stuff. Get that base too. I might have to wait till we're closer to done. Sorry if I'm coughing directly into the mic. Okay. Alright. Ready to come in. Whenever we do my Chaos Lord, I'm going to attempt adding a little bit of dimension with some sponging and stuff. So I'll probably use this darker green and then come in with the intermediate green. If I had an even lighter green, I'd probably use that too. I could use this one, but it's pretty desaturated. The Treant green from the Wizards of the Coast starter kit. It's also really old. (2018). So it's really old because I didn't start playing D&D until 2019. I don't even know if it's still liquid or not. Oh, yeah. It's got some to it. Alright. Ooh, some depressurization happening in the bottle here. Alright, which brush? Tiny brush. Oh, it's right there. use. Very nice. Starting to feel like a pro now. Should have done a better job cutting these. But I did put these together a while ago. I do think I'm a lot better now. However many kits I put together later. Do some touch-ups in here. It's kind of thin. setting things the way they're supposed to be is only part of the battle. Dry brushing helped me a lot too, picking out the places that are going to be trimmed. Because I wasn't sure exactly when I put the base coat on. Excuse me. Starting to lose my brush a little bit. Whoops. You know, I got a wet palette for Christmas. At some point, I'm going to take it out of the box and actually use it the way it's intended to be used. For some reason, that's not today. I also don't have a whole lot of room on my desk. So it may be even longer. So either I'm lazy or just underprivileged. Both are possible. I would lean more towards the former. I think the fact that I'm able to purchase 40K would mean that I have a bit of privilege. Let's see, should that all... Yeah, that's all gonna have to be trim on the helmet. Except for maybe this spot right here. Well, maybe not. I have another one with a helmet very similar. Let me go look. This one here. Yeah, his is all chrome. We'll go with that. I don't mind how that looks. fuzz on my brush. Can't function with that. Check something. All right. Getting these nooks here. Tiny details back here. Let's... And now... All right. At some point, I'm gonna get an entire squad done and finally be able to upload a short again. Unfortunately, life just gets in the way. What's up, wedding guy? We are working on a legionary for my homebrew Chaos Warband, the Fervent Storm. One of several homebrew Chaos Warbands. There. I am quite the homebrewer. It's one of my favorite parts of the hobby. Getting to know the lore and then being able to add your own stuff to the lore. Currently got 6 homebrews, and this is just one of them. Only 5 of them do I actually have models for. And this is my last one for my 2 squads of legionaries. As soon as I get this one done, we'll be ready to upload another short, which I haven't gotten to do for a minute, because life, and it usually gets in the way. if you want to, you can join my Discord. That's an option. Or if you feel so inclined, find me on Instagram, because I am there as well. Experiencing some difficulties, it appears. Excuse me. And then at some point this summer, I'm hopefully going to be getting some extra evenings, and we'll be doing some game streams as well. Not entirely sure on the details of that. And for the record, we will more than likely be playing 40k games. But fantasy games are also an option. Excuse me. I am indeed open to suggestions for games I should play. I have Space Marine 2, which I have completed the campaign for. I would definitely play the campaign again. I have to say, I'm not too much of a PvP guy, but the PvE is fun, so I would definitely do some more of that. Hello, Raincloud. We are painting the final legionary that I have for the Fervent Storm. And when he's done, I'll finally be able to do a video of the squad. Because I have 10. And I've been working on them for actual months. I don't remember when I bought them now. It was a while. I know that much. Eating supper and watching The Phantom Menace. I could be doing something like that, but it'll be a little distracting. I can't watch visual mediums or even have them going in the background while I'm trying to focus on this. I tried it with anime, and I just couldn't do it. I did finish season 6 of My Hero while painting, and it worked okay, but not fantastic, because I was constantly looking up from the model to watch the show, and it took away from the model. So about the only thing I can do is listen to music. Ten? Too many for kill team? Yeah, because Legionaries, you can only have 2 fire teams of 3. But for the base game, you can have pretty much as many as you want, as long as they're minimum squad size of 5. Squads are generally 5 minimum for any army. Only have shows in the background, and I've seen them before. If it's a rewatch, then I can do everything while it's in the background. That's fair. I could probably do that with a lot of things, except for Revenge of the Sith, because that's something that I have to watch. And Lord of the Rings. I have to watch that too. Guardsman Squad win. As soon as I decide that I want to start building a guardsman army. I do want to build a guardsman army, but it's more of an investment than building a Astartes. When lore video? Oh, I have no idea. When Raincloud and Face team up video? Team up in what regard? Guardsman squad lore win. Well, I would have to read. Let's see, which book do I have over there? I have several guards books. Any regard? Well, we'll see. Because the one is in the works. Slowly. Well, you saw it. I'm about a third of the way through it. Have you made any creatures in your lore creation? No, not directly. I could for the planets that I've created. It would make sense. A lot of the things that I've worked on recently is just culture, like chapter culture and stuff like that. Today I was working on a couple key members of the excuse me. Key members of the Sons of Sorrow and their rankings throughout the ages. But yeah, once I get to a spot where I'm a little more happy with that, I'll probably make some creatures. For guard books, I have a couple, and they're chonky boys. Of course, most of my 40k books are chonky boys, but I have the Fall of Cadia, which is the Fall of Cadia. That speaks for itself. 13th Black Crusade and all that, but it focuses on the Cadians. And I have the Founding, which is the Gaunt's Ghost Omnibus, which Gaunt's Ghost is the book that I've heard a lot of people say if you are to get into 40k lore going absolutely blind, start with that one. So. Have you made any special weapons for your chapters? I mean, there's one for the Terminus Knights, the Core Worms. That's the main one for them. The mining, it's not really an automata. It's just a giant mining drill that has the capacity to break planets. Planet broke before the guard did. Yes, the classic Cadian meme. If I were to build a guard army, it would not be Cadian. I just have to figure out how to do that, because whenever you buy an actual guard box, they usually come with regiments already in mind. So like the core, the base unit for the guard are Acadian shock troops, but you can paint them up in other ways because the armor that comes on them is standard for any average guardsman that happens to get its supplies from a Forge World that has average output. Because there are Forge Worlds that don't have the capacity to output standard armor, and so you're stuck with maybe a chest piece. It just depends on where your world gets their military supplies from. Cadian versus Krieg, who wins? Cadians have the resolve. Krieg have the inability to care for their own lives. Probably Krieg, because Krieg have a scorched earth mentality, and Cadians just have resolve, but that really doesn't do a lot when you have massive surface-to-surface missiles that you use unashamedly, even if it means killing your own men. But that's just an opinion. Now, if it were Catachin, Catachin would beat everybody. Well, maybe not Krieg, but Catachin are, I mean, they're literally called the Catachin Jungle Fighters. Because they came from Catachin, which is a planet that wants to kill every living thing on the planet. So they're all tough as nails and really have no fear. And they all look like Rambo. They have a key character. His name is Sly Marbo, which is an anagram for Sylvester Stallone. And he has his own in-universe Chuck Norris lore. Can't think of any off the top of my head. If you give me a sec, I'll look some up. If the section of the Ultramarine showed up in your sectors, who would they get along with in my chapters? Oh, well, my chapters... Okay, the Terminus Knights are not Codex compliant, but the Sons of Sorrow and the Reliquary Brotherhood both are. So that fact alone would put them on relatively good terms. But the Sons of Sorrow might be so concerned about not making a mistake that they'll end up making a mistake, because that's just who they are. Because they just don't want to mess up that badly. Now, I don't know if I could write in a company of Ultramarines, because most of the Ultramarines are pretty much called for in lore already, and I don't want to write any of them in for fear of messing them up. But if they were to show up in the Wraith Pit, they would probably just try to establish a government structure, because that's what they do, is government. Does Inquisition exist in your sector? Yes. So the Wraith Pit sector is... it's a weak point in the warp. It's near the Maelstrom, which is where Bad Ab is around, and the Bad Ab War and all that. That's why the chapter was put there, specifically, was to defend against the Wraith Pit, which is, you know, where a bunch of chaos stuff comes out. It's called the Wraith Pit because very often worlds nearby the small opening in the warp will see specters. Sometimes they're hostile and sometimes they're not. But there's constantly a presence of psychers that need to be there to make sure that the specters do not do anything malicious. So they are constantly on watch. And so it's called the Wraith Pit sector, because it's a Wraith Pit, it seems, where there's a bunch of Wraiths everywhere. Okay, here's some Sly Marbo stuff. Let's see. Marbo once beat Yarick in his Power Claw with an arm wrestling competition. To make it fair, he only used his right pinky after breaking it first. That's funny if you know who Commissar Yarick is, which I believe you do because he was in the video that we watched. Or Marbo's tears can revive the Emperor. Too bad he's never cried. Or Marbo has 78 distinct grunts for kill, but none for mercy. Let's see. Excuse me. Marbo can throw a war boss further than he can throw his demo pack. Marbo stopped being sly when his new codex came out. That's a little insider information for you. Let's see. There are better ones. Sec, I'm looking. The orc propaganda. Only for Yorick. Oh, here's one. Sly Marbo once killed 12 orcs with a grenade. Then the grenade exploded. The Chaos Gods check in their closet at night for Sly Marbo. He once killed 3 Chaos Space Marines with only a potted plant. The list goes on. The hive mind actively avoids planets that Sly Marbo is on. The Emperor heard of Sly Marbo's exploits and chose to retire because he felt irrelevant. We're the best dancers of corn. The bird twerkers. Probably... I gotta think through all my corn units. No, you nailed it. That was it. Alright, I need to get back to painting. I was gonna get this guy done tonight. Why is Magnus so far in college debt? He has thousands. Do you know why that's funny? Or are you just pulling these off Reddit? Because I'll be more impressed if you can give me more information about Magnus. And why the Thousand Sons are called the Thousand Sons. And what happened to the Thousand Sons and why they're relevant. Can you back up your information? Give me your sources. If your source is Reddit, then try again. Who are the biggest threat to Imperium Teeth? Black Marines. That's actually founded because I don't think personal hygiene really exists unless you're a noble. He had a lot of free time and wives. Only one of those things is true. No, actually the only Primarch to actually have Paramours is Fulgrim, for obvious reasons. It's partially right. You were partially right. He did have a lot of time on his hands. One, because he was the most powerful Psyker in the galaxy, next to the Emperor himself. And Malkador, but Malkador is his own thing. Because that man could make a Primarch kneel before him. But that is another topic. No, the Thousand Sons are actually the Thousand Sons because there were only 1,000 of them remaining after... Was it after the flesh change? I gotta look that up now. Yeah, I know about the burning of Prospero. Remember something about Thousand Sons fighting Chaos or the Imperium, I think? Yes to both. So, they actually had a gene affliction because of their association with Magnus. That their gene seed had a mutation that caused them to become extra susceptible to the warp, where they would just spontaneously explode into Chaos Spawn. And they called it the Flesh Change. And it was a very, very, very bad problem. But the entire Legion was already made up of Psykers. Like, all of them were Psykers. And that's where the Council of Nicaea was founded, because the rest of the Imperium was... The rest of the legions, namely the Primarchs, were a bit leery of Psykers because of their abilities to tap into the warp unchecked. And so the Council of Nicaea was created and was basically made to nullify Psykers and demand that if you were a Psyker, you were not allowed to use your skills. And Magnus was not very happy about that because his entire legion was made up of Psykers, and he himself was a Psyker. And that's actually part of the plotline for Space Marine 2, but you haven't made it that far. If you got to pick one thing from your homebrew to put it into the GW canon, what would you pick? One thing? There's a lot of things. Um, I'm really proud of the way the Sons of Sorrow are turning out. Even though they're kind of a combination between the Mantis Warriors and the Lamenters, but they're a successor of the Lamenters, so that kind of makes sense. But I would definitely just keep them the way they are, because I don't want anything about them to change. Because I like the fact that they are sad boys and they just crank it up a little bit. Because extreme anxiety and all that. Did you say the Council of IKEA? No. No, I did not. Nikea. Nikea. I think. Namely, the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels and the Ultramarines were leery of Psychers. The White Scars were not so much, but that's also because they had a lot of Psychers, and Jagatai was friends with Magnus. Like, they were close. Like, buddy buddies. Sons of Sorrow are who I played in Kill Team. Yes. You played an Assault Intercessor squad of the Sons of Sorrow. Technically, in lore, they were 8th Squad First Blood, led by Sergeant Daskin. Because for the Sons of Sorrow, at least in my lore, squads are split into 2 sections, 2 fire teams, I guess you could call them. And they can work in unison or they can work apart from each other to split their numbers a little bit and cover more ground when need be, and they're not under the watchful eye of the Imperium. Or the Inquisition, for that matter. Because they're very anxious about that. But they split their forces so they can fulfill more roles. So, like, I have mine. The 8th Squad is split. I have regular Assault Intercessors and Jump Pack Intercessors. And if they are to remain Codex compliant, I have to keep them split to fit with the numbers and the squads that are allowed. Because Assault Intercessors with the chain swords and heavy bolt pistols are technically there's only allowed to be 2 close support squads, so the 7th and 8th, and I've already started the 7th. They are my incursors, and I need a second blood for them, which would be their 2nd fire team. This brush is really failing me. It's probably because I used it a lot. Imagine that. Go back to this one. Now they are Squad KIA, led by Sarge Replacement. Broke my cannon. No, they've actually got a little bit of plot armor in my lore. The Codex is more like guidelines than actual rules. According to a lot of chapters, yes. The only chapter that takes it that seriously is the Ultramarines and some of their successors. And maybe the Imperial Fists. They kind of take it seriously. But next to the Ultramarines, the Imperial Fists are the next poster boys, I would say. yeah, at some point I'm gonna finish painting Second Blood, and then I'll have a squad of jump pack intercessors ready to go for the third company. And they are currently being led by the captain of the third company, Captain Godoon. I have to paint him up too when I get enough time to paint all the models that I want to paint, while also buying more. Can I get a showcase of models before I move on with my evening? Are the Sons of Sorrow your poster boys? Yes, they are absolutely my poster boys. Them and the Fervent Storm, because they're the ones that I put the most effort into in their lore and in their schemes and paint jobs. You want to showcase. Which model do you want to see? And the Sons of Sorrow, currently, they are not the only ones in the Wraith Pit at the moment, because the fourth company of the Reliquary Brotherhood is there to assist them. But other than that, they're kind of on their own. I mean, except for the Wraith Pit Fleet, which is the roving fleet designated to patrol the area, which is the Imperial Navy. Pick last streams. What did I paint last stream? It might have been another Legionary. Actually, I'm almost positive it was. Yeah, this is the one I finished last stream. Get some good focus on it. So he's a Legionary for the Fervent Storm. I'm actually thinking about changing, not really changing my lava technique, but adding an extra little detail to it. Getting really close now. He actually looks a lot better on camera than he looks in real life. His colors are a little more vibrant. I like that. Alright. But once I finish this guy, and I'll have all 10, I'll make a short for it. And that'll end up going on the channel. Lava is cool. It's inherently cool, but also hot. It's very counterintuitive. Get these nooks here. I need to just get a pack of fine brushes, because I don't have enough. I always use the fine ones first, and then all the others that I have get progressively larger. I'm at 70 subs. Yeah, that's what I saw before I started. Oh, I see how it is. I saw there was an update. I should probably update that at some point, but not during the stream, otherwise the stream will die. You're saving democracy instead of spending time with me. See how it is. Priorities. Misplaced. Let's purge the Xeno. I do agree. Can't disagree. Now, whenever Helldiver starts adding Tau, I may be a little less inclined. Because I'm warming up to Tau. If I were to do Xenos, I would probably do Tau. Then Orcs. Definitely Tau. Eldar can go die. I don't care about Eldar. They brought their troubles upon themselves, and they deserve every ounce of it. Xeno fleet has arrived. Actually, I'm doing housework in GCW. I'm doing Helldivers later. I haven't been on for at least a month or two. Being a little preoccupied. I wonder if it's just the pigmentation of the paint, because this really isn't performing like it usually does. Also, it doesn't help that this brush is in horrible shape. I don't take care of my brushes like I should. I also don't have the time or the materials to do that. Okay. First coat on one arm. Let's see if I can go back to the finer brush. Just does better, but it doesn't hold as much paint. That's the issue. Also, when I'm using it, I think I just let it sit too much without rinsing it. So it ends up drying, which is a major problem. That's good enough. Can't even see those fingers most of the time. The other arm now. This brush just isn't cutting it. It's fine for the small stuff, which is what it's for, but... Let's try this. Just gotta be a little extra careful. The base coating isn't why people watch the stream anyway. It's always for the trim because it's satisfying. Gotta focus. My ADHD is taking over. Getting closer. This green usually takes 2 coats. It's also because I'm not starting with a darker layer, which I could be, but I'm going to try to do that for the more specialized units, not just the Legionaries. So I have a squad of Possessed that I'll probably try it with. And then a squad of Havocs. And then definitely my Chaos Lord. Can't tell if that's a shadow or a spot I missed. I think it's a shadow. I'm gonna add some moisture back. This might actually be too thin. It's okay. What's up with this armor? My chopping job is not very good. It's kind of rough. Oof. It's rough. Okay. Much, much better. this finger in the first layer of the green should be done. In theory. Okay. Looking good there. All right. First coat done. Do the second one. Then we can start on our chromes. That's probably going to take the longest. All right. Don't want to oversaturate it with paint, but I want to get enough to get a reasonable coverage. Because if I don't, it's just going to end up looking blotchy. I don't need that. All right. That's good. Once I get the wash on it, it'll make it blend together a lot better. Not super important to get this nook. But I know if I don't, somebody's going to see it and be like, why didn't you paint that? You lazy dude, guy, person. And I'll be like, my brush wasn't fine enough. You want to do it? Go for it. He's gone. He's too busy doing other things. I'm not special enough for him to stick around. Well, so is he. He's not here, so we can talk about him. I don't know why all that shaving work is so tough. Rough, because I haven't done that bad in a long time. I think we're ready for our trims, though. Before that, though, I need a drink. Okay, that's better. I said that. Okay. Now it's time for the trim. Start with the power pack. nice thing about the trim is metallic paint, especially silver or chrome, goes a long ways on a black base coat. And it doesn't really matter how thin you make it. Well, I say that, it does sometimes. Sometimes you just get a bunch of glitter. Still gotta have its color at least. Don't let the ADHD take over. There's a spot I missed with the blue. Should probably get that real quick. Not a big deal. Okay. I don't want to miss any spots in there. thought I didn't get enough on the top there. I think we're okay though. Okay. We'll do the shoulder trim, and then we'll get to the helmet. That's the part I'm looking forward to the most. It's usually what I look forward to the most. Sorry about the snorting. My allergies have been acting up for the last month. I'm not trying to gross anybody out intentionally. Now, if I were painting Nurgle units, that'd be different. But I'm not. too wet. Get really close to these fine spots. Gotta love good old chaos trim. Best part of any model, said no one ever. But unironically, I do actually get a lot of satisfaction out of painting it. Because when you get it just right, you're like, that's good. Then you blend it in. Whenever you go over it with a wash, it's a chef's kiss. Come in and hit that with a wash. Okay. Now we gotta do this arm trim. Okay. That trim is done. Let's go ahead and do the bolter. Gotta look at my last model to remember how I did it. Okay. Well, I did do the whole thing. That's the bolter. I think the top half is done. Probably ought to get the belt. That would be beneficial, in my opinion. Without messing anything up. Thankfully, the wash covers a multitude of mistakes. Just what we want. Mistake coverage. I think that would benefit everyone. Good belt. Good belt. Alright, let's do the leg trim now. See, we have several people. How is everyone's evening going? Enjoying the heat, are we? It's the most old man thing I could have said. Talking about the weather for small talk. Is talking about the weather the smallest talk? Like on a range of small talk to big talk, what are both ends of the spectrum? Or is it just open to interpretation? And thoughts on this subject are just null and void and mean absolutely nothing. Got a little over ambitious there. See if I can clean it up. If not, I can probably hit it with a sponge. Yep, nope, it's there. That's fine. It's kind of underneath anyway. wetting down our paint a little too much. I have to add in some more to even it out. Mix that in. It's wasting my steel colored paint, but it's okay. My brush is starting to fail me too. It's getting to be quite the desperate situation here. Time to break down and buy some finer brushes. Okay, this brush is starting to become an issue. About this one? Nope, that one's junk. What about this one? This one might have too much of a curve. We'll see. It'll work for the time being. See how long it lasts. Have quite as much control with it. Thankfully, we're almost done with this step. Just do some extra sponging on his leg. here. Get this brace back here. If anybody has any lore thoughts, suggestions, homebrew, I'm open to discussion too. That is kind of one of the reasons I do this stream, is so we can talk. I also have a Discord, if anyone here is curious, and a lot of that can take place there as well. Hello again, Raincloud. No, no one else is chatty. Literally no one since you left. So I've pretty much been talking to myself for an hour and a half. But it's fine, because it gives me an excuse to finish this guy. My goal is to finish him tonight. And we just finished up all the chrome. I'm actually going to go in and touch up this blue, because it's really bothering me. Because I got some silver out of it. Okay, keep your squabbles to real life. I'm kidding, and it increases interaction, so go ahead and keep talking. Rip him a new one. He probably deserves it. Recording Skyrim. I like Skyrim. Thought about getting on and playing the other day, but then reality struck and I realized I don't have time. For any games, really, but including Skyrim. I'll touch up some of this green, too, while I'm here. Face is the only face Chaos can love. Can Chaos Marines love? I don't... Well... Depends on what you mean by love. If you're talking about physical love, I mean, Slanesh is a thing. A very dominant thing. In more ways than one. That's why the Emperor's children are, well, always have been the playboys of the galaxy. Okay. I think we're ready for the Nuln Oil. Unless I forgot something. I forgot something. Gotta get the backside of this mag. No one's gonna see it but me, but it's gonna bug me forever. Alright, so we got a null oil. And then after the null oil, we do the sponging. And then after the sponging, going with the bronze for the bolts, or the bolt shells. Then we'll do the eyes, and the base. And that's gonna be it, and he's gonna be done. Oh boy. No reason at all. There's a lot happening. Yes, Slanesh is the dominant one. Kind of. Yes, let's go with that. Alright, null oil time. The best part. Magic in a bottle. Dishonor my Space Marine. These Space Marines have already been dishonored. What are you talking about? I even pulled out a new brush for this null oil. Because I've seen people using wide brushes and I wanted to try it. It probably gets better coverage. Oh, that's glorious. Why have I not been doing this sooner? And it helps get rid of the pooling too because of the size. I just made a technical discovery live on stream, so you're welcome. Shading will never be the same. It covers so much more surface too. What is wrong with me? Don't answer that. I get it, I'm dishonored. Everybody who is associated with me is now dishonored. That includes my sentient paints and my sentient brushes. Changes everything. Everything that I ever knew. Send it to a new level. What's wrong with me? Told you don't answer that. Keep to yourself. I know the answers and I refuse to acknowledge them. That is one of the things that is wrong with me. Avoid any subsequent pooling, though. Hold up, a Space Marine chapter that's obsessed with painting? That already exists. Faceplanet's whole painting world has been turned completely upside down. It kind of has. This makes it so much easier, because I was using a fine brush for this. All I've got to watch out for is the pooling. That's not a big deal. It doesn't do as well in the tight nooks and crannies, but that's okay. Ooh, no, I didn't want to get it in the eyes. Because it will pool in the eyes and it'll dry and then I'll mess my eyes up. Gotta get that out of there. Let's fix that. Oh, fine. Be that way. No, there is actually a Space Marine chapter that has dedicated itself to art, namely the Blood Angels and all of their successors, because they use art to keep themselves distracted from the red thirst. And it actually works. There's something that Sanguinius initiated in them, so they wouldn't fall to it as easily. See how well this works when it dries, because I really want to avoid the pooling. Also wasn't finished with that arm, but the ADHD said differently. Ooh, it's pooling heavy right there. Go in and find all the pooling that I don't want. This does so much better at moving around the pooling. It's quite remarkable. I need to be a little more methodical and stop marveling at how it works, but holy crap, this is a game changer. You mean they use blood as art? No, they use art to distract themselves from the red thirst. So they carve statues and paint paintings and play music, stuff like that. Is that all the surfaces? I want to get it out of there. Any places that I have to apply paint in future steps. The next time I do this, I'm going to be a little more methodical, so I don't destroy my paint job. But now I know. Apply a wash with a wide brush. It changes the whole experience. Get it out of there. Alright, we'll let that dry for a minute. And then we'll go to the eyes. Or should I do the bolts? I should probably do the bolter shells. They will get a cut of bronze and a wash of Agrax Earthshade. the base. Actually, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I can go ahead and dry brush my gray on the base to get it ready to go. Because once it's done, that's it. Stream is over. Till next week. Find out next week. I'll dry my brush. No, I don't want to use that brush. I want to use my ratty brush for the dry brushing. This is going to be my designated wash brush from now on. Till it gets destroyed and I have to get another one. Should have done this when I dry brushed the whole model, but it's fine. I'm going to try an experiment with the lava on this one. The red. Oops. Just adding the glow from the lava. Yep, that looks alright. How did my last vid do? How do you add lava glow with paint? It's two different questions. My last vid, which one are you talking about? Like my last official video or my last short? This brush. Either. My last short got 1.7K with like, let me look. what'd we get? Got 20 likes, which is pretty good. My last official video only got 386 according to Studio. I'll be uploading another one probably sometime tomorrow. Once I get this dude done, I get another one shot for it. To answer your glow question, what I do is I take the darkest bright color coming from the lava, which in this case is red, and I dry brush it on the surface that is not covered in lava, and it adds a cool little glow. And I've done it with all of my lava bases. This one is not quite as saturated, but you can still kind of make it out. And it works pretty well from what I can tell and everything I'm doing. I've seen people do it other ways, but usually those people have airbrushes, and I do not. One, because I can't afford it, and two, it's kind of intimidating to try a different method that may or may not break. Yeah, they call it, well, it's object source lighting. So you find a point where the light would be coming from, and then you make your base color from your light reach out from your point of light. Some guys would add highlights and stuff, like maybe a brighter red on top of that, maybe even the orange, which I could do, but again, I'm afraid of messing up the model. So I just haven't. But I'm going to try something whenever I finish the lava on this guy that I've never tried before and I've seen a lot of people do. See what that is whenever I get to that step. But first, I think this lenses are ready, so we'll go in for that step to do the eyes. Actually, I should get the the bolts first. It'll take 5 seconds, and I'll just switch between. Do think it's time for some new brushes here pretty soon, though. Especially since I'm going to be painting these possessed here soon, and I have a whole new idea. I've been scouring the internet for how to paint demonic flesh, because they have demonic flesh that needs to be painted, and I don't even know where to start with that. So I've been looking for ideas and methods just all over the place, because I want to get something nailed down before I settle on something. What kind of brushes do you use? Cheap ones. I can't find a pack of just fine brushes, which I'd like to. Everything I find is a variety pack. So I get a cheap variety pack that happens to have a fine brush. And the best ones that I've had that have served me so far have been from Walmart. So I'm probably just going to go back to that. I think it was like a $5 pack. Wide brushes have their place, but not on models of this size. Now, if I was doing my transport over there, probably, most definitely, which I do need to get to at some point. But I have a lot of models I need to get to, and not a lot of time. And I have 6 right here sitting next to me that need to be primed, so they're ready to go. Let's see, where's the brush that I just used? It's this one. I'll use this for the eyes. Of course, there's hair in the brush. Set it down just a little bit. You know, I can get these eye lenses just right one time and then never again. It's quite infuriating. There are other ways to do them, but I'm still gonna mess them up. Mainly because my brushes just aren't fine enough. And when they are fine enough, they always have a ton of artifacts and like longer hairs on them. Okay. We'll come in with the next layer on the lava. Bronze should be dry by now. And I could splurge for authentic brushes, but I just get cheap synthetics. Because real hair brushes, like usually they're horsehair, they hold their shape a lot better. and they're a lot easier to clean. But the cheap synthetics, they're cheap. You just have to take care of them a little more, and I don't. Pulled my cap off. There we go. We're gonna leave that the way it is. Eyes should be dry by now, so we'll go in for the lens color now, I guess. Not very confident, because 9 times out of 10 I always mess it up. Okay. It's actually not that bad. Question is, can I keep them both consistent? My guess is no. Actually, that's fairly consistent. That doesn't look bad. Okay. Happy with that. Alright. Well, before we put the wash on the bolt shells, we're going to come in and sponge. Tweezers. There we go. Okay. Add our weathering. It's very subtle, but it does add an extra dimension. Alright, let's put the wash on the bolt shells before I forget again. For this one, I'm going to use a fine brush. Fine-ish One that I can kind of just get in there without getting it all over the place. Because all I'm doing is adding a shade to the shells. Okay. If this lava method works on this guy, I'm going to do it to the other 9. But we'll see. I need to... We're going to come in with the yellow now. Little oversaturated. We're going to see if my idea is going to fix that. It looks better on camera than it does IRL. But most things do. Alright, so I need some black. I think it's about time to open the new bottle. I think it'll take a ton, but okay. Now this might not work at all, and it's just going to look hideous. That's why we're experimenting. Okay. That looks hideous. Not sure how to make that look any better, but now we know. I'm going to look up some lava tutorials after this. Okay, well, so that's done. It's time for the final step, which is painting the base rim. Okay. Base rim painted. Fight squids. Your short is up. Alright, well, I'll go check that out. But I'm done now. This is the 10th Legionnaire. Be on the lookout for a short in the next day or two. I hate my lava experiment, but we're gonna suck it up and call it good. Okay. Alright, well, thanks everybody for joining. Like I said, be on the lookout for a short here in the next couple days, either tomorrow or the day after. And you will see the entire, technically 2 squads, but it could be 1 squad. You can put 10, up to 10 in a squad. But yeah, we'll be looking for that. And join the Discord if you're interested. There's places to talk about lore, places to talk about your own projects. There's gaming channels. We can discuss that. Things about games and such. Trying to make it a community to talk about lore and homebrew especially. But yeah. Thanks everybody. And I will see you all in the next stream.